Okay, good evening, our beloved viewers of the Chosen Media Group. Today, we want to talk about the role of youths in governance and also in community development. In the book of Chinua Achebe, Things Fall Apart, I can hear Chinua Achebe calling all the youths, asking them that where are these suckers that will grow after the old bananas die. But the tragedy in African's nation is that old bananas have refused to die. So today in the studio I have two gentlemen, I have two gentlemen who will introduce themselves, and they are intellectuals who will tell us the roles of youths in terms of governance and also community development. Okay, how are you, my brother?
I'm doing so.
And how are you?
I'm fine.
I'm so smart.
Sure.
So perhaps you introduce yourselves to the audience who are watching us over there. Let's begin from here.
Okay, thank you. I'm Vincent Otieno, a second year student teacher at Kibabi University.
Where did you meet the name Siaya?
We are Gen Zs.
You are Gen Zs.
We are
Tribeless.
tribeless.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that.
Okay, thank you. I'm Espanimo, second year student at Kibabi University.
We thought you were Martin Luther Jr.
So, part-time name, called part-time name.
Oh, that's your part-time name.
Sure.
So, without wasting much of time, let's delve into the matters at hand. Who is the youth? Then you relate the youth with the Gen Z.
Okay. Now, a youth is simply a person who is a middle-aged person, not such as, I would say, between the age of 18 and 35. That person will be regarded as a youth. That is according to our constitution. Anybody between the age of 18 and 35 is considered as a youth.
Thank you. And my brother, Luther,
Yes.
I'll be referring to you as Luther. So my brother Luther, where are the Gen Zs? They emerged, I think it was on May, and all of a sudden they are nowhere to be seen. Where are they?
Thank you for the opportunity. I want to tell you, we were driving transparency intently, but apparently the problem arose where Gen Z had to move out of the arena of transparency, in which there was been no guideline through in points of talking to matters of honesty in the country. But we were talking about things pertaining to the country. But it went an extra mile where young people who were standing up for transparency in the country, they were killed. So we were seeing the bloodshed in the country. So they had to drop out because of for the sake of their life.
Okay. The same question applies to you, Mr. Siaya.
Okay, thank you for that question. You're asking where are the Gen Zs? I'll use one philosopher who is a key role model to many youths and many diplomats in the country, in the continent, and worldwide. That is Professor Theodore Lumumba. He's a professor of linguistics, and one of his quotes and comments, he once said that a good dancer should know when to leave the stage. So I think the Gen Zs, after observing the environment and realizing that, they realize that actually their time to quit the stage is due because of the continued bloodshed that was there, that happened continuously over the finance bill and all the demos that were there. I think for the youths who are always brought up knowing that they have a brighter future, they resolved and took their point to say that it was the right time to leave the stage at that time.
Thank you, Bwana Vincent, for good clarification. Same applies to Bwana Luther. And what are some of these achievements that was attained by the Gen Z after the revolution? Did they achieve anything?
Exactly. the Gen Zs achieved a lot with their revolution. One, for the first time in the history of the Republic of Kenya, we saw a government where the president reshuffled, not even reshuffled, dissolved. The president dissolved his own cabinet for restructuring, after which we even saw we have a broad-based government which came in as a result of the Gen Zs. There were so many impactful things that were brought about by the Gen Z's evolution. Yeah.
And what else did they achieve?
Let me take from that stage, and I like the clarification. But what he achieved, let us say we had a blockchain in the country. So let me call the country Kenya as an environment where there was no that blockchain, and the blockchain is where they were driving. They were driving honest in the country. So when they were giving out the honest nature of the country, they could not even be taken into consideration. Also, the marginalized voice could not be taken into consideration. So we lacked that honest, but we achieved blockchain in the country.
And what's your take on this perspective, whereby the people who are on government always have that idea, or rather have that perspective that young people, they are never right, they are ever wrong. The actions that we do, we are recognized by demonstrations, burning down the buildings, burning down the parliament. What's your take to the people who normally describe the youth, or rather Gen Z, using vices?
In our society today, the society we live in today, and more so, let me talk of our leaders. The leaders, the kind of leadership we have, they always perceive that the youths, they are minors in this society. They are people who cannot have a voice, or maybe if they have a voice, their voice won't be that meaningful and impactful to the society. So you realize that at most occasions or most instances, these people, they try to demean whatever action is trying to be taken by the youths. And this is brought about because of the age bracketing. You realize that our constitution names a youth as a person between the age of 18 and 35. And you consider that in most leadership positions, you find out that for you to be elected a leader in most and various parts of this particular nation, you realize that there are some communities that, or rather, let me say some constituencies in this country where you cannot be elected as a leader when you are not married, you have not done a wedding, or you are not wedded. So you realize that these people, the leadership, the people in leadership, they seem to perceive that the youth, they are the people who, these are people who cannot reason out, they are not yet mature to that level, and therefore they demean these people, knowing that they think that these people does not have knowledge on some certain matters in the society, which is very wrong. The youths are very brilliant, very sharp. The youths are very innovative. You know, if you bring them on board in matters of governance, you can really have a working government, because you realize that most of the things that are affecting our country, they are either affecting the youths directly or indirectly. Directly, let's talk, for example, for instance, matters of education. When you talk of matters of education, we come up with something to do with the help. When you bring in help, you bring in aspect of how the government runs its finances, how it does how it spends its money on various activities. So you realize that on matters of help, the youths are directly affected. But this is a conversation that when the youths try to speak out, they are perceived as maybe they are noisy, they know nothing about governance, that they need to be patient for their help money to be disbursed. But you know, we do not require some miracles for the government to disburse money that is supposed to be supporting education in the country. No miracle is is discerned for that to happen.
Okay.
So I think the leadership space are just ignorant and does not care what the youth's take on matters governance is.
Okay. Thank you, Vincent. And to you, Mr. Luther, after Gen Z revolution, I think after President doing away with the finance bill and also reshuffling his CS, I guess the people, or rather the citizens, were now quiet. Do you think citizens are quiet, or rather they are now living in peace? Or what we perceive as peace is just the silent? Do you think it's the silent or the peace?
Okay, thank you. Let me tell you. We want to talk about peace in the first aspect. And when we talk about peace, there could we could not be having a bloodshed where there is peace. Peace is an ecosystem where there is no bloodshed. And we can never say when the citizen went to silent, it was peace. It doesn't mean peace. It meant at least there was their voice was heard for once. But there is no that justification. They were not justified fully. That is why we can be able to testify today. Still people are demonstrating.
Sure.
People demonstrating in which point? They are not yet justified. They want a government where there is justification, where they want to create themselves a peaceful, conducive environment where they are going to be served. That's why even our Gen Z, I can be able to tell you, they are not in a peaceful environment, but they are in an ecosystem where they start silence. Why? They have run for the purpose of getting clear information about the government. Take the case of Kevaso. Kevaso had to stand up for the rights of Mwananchi. But today you can put tell that is silent on matters to do with the government. What is the reason behind? Maybe it was undermined in this ecosystem. And let us see from Gen Z. Gen Z, we have landed now where we are seeing that going for social method utilization is going to make us better. Now we are airing our things on social media for the purpose of our safety. So if we can be able to go ahead and talk about pinging and silence, we are not in peace. So our environment is yet in a peaceful way.
Okay. So we can just say that our citizens are just silent, but they are not at peace.
Sure, they are not.
So, and Vindo, you say you touched something to do with the new funding model.
Yeah.
And recently we had the lecturers demonstration, whereby students have been forced to lack classes for a period of more than 5 weeks, if I'm not wrong. And I thought the people who were affected by this were the Gen Zs, the university students. And I expected you as the Gen Zs to come up and back up your lecturers so that the government can react.
As expected, it never happened. Yeah, many were expecting that the comradeship in the country is going to come out and cry together with the lecturers, but it never happened. Why is that so? We are living in a society whereby an individual is only concerned about what affects him or her immediately. You realize that help, the disbursement of help is delayed, but our lecturers, that is not their concern. That is not their concern. It does not touch them in any way. So at the time when you are suffering as a comrade, you don't have money for your upkeep, you don't have money to pay for your rent, but the lecturer still insists you go for lectures. You know that one, you are suffering as a comrade. It comes to the time, the same sword that was cutting this side is the same sword that is trying to shape their lives at the end. Now we realize that actually in this society, we are not a united nation. The society is not in unison. If it were that comrades are crying out for the disbursement of help, and their lecturers chipped in to amplify their voice so that at least something could be done for them, then I think it would have been better for the comrades now to give a hand back. Now that you guys fought for us when we were in time of need, it's our time back. It's our time to pay back for the good work that you did to us. But realize that everybody is in his or her own space. Everybody wants something that benefits him or herself. But anything affecting the other individual is none of their business. And you know, we cannot say that the Gen Zs are being biased or whatever, but we all know that our lecturers, these are professors, learned fellows, they are older than us by age, so you expect to emulate whatever they are doing. Now, if we had a crisis where there was delayed disbursement of funds to the comrades, and none of them, not even a single lecturer, spoke about the situation, but they were busy keeping comrades in classes, teaching them. You are teaching a hungry comrade. Now it came to that time, the comrades had learned that actually in this society, everybody is for himself, God for us all.
Thank you, Bwana Vincent. And Mr. Luther, what is the right time for one to lead, to become a leader in Kenya? Because I remember when I was 10, I used to be told that Combo, you are a future leader of tomorrow. Until now, I'm 51. I'm 51 years old, and I'm still being told that Combo, you are a leader of tomorrow. So, what's this ripe age in Kenya that one is supposed to become a leader?
Thank you for the question. And let me tell you how it is to tell to our country, Kenya. We intend to think that the right age for a person to fire in is the old age. And the qualification, they say you have to get married, you need to have money. And that is the problem of even our constitution. The constitution doesn't even define ourselves well. For me, when is the right for the right person, for the right time for the person to be called a Kenyan citizen? It is 18 years and above. And we need to understand from 18 years and above, you are capable of being voted, and you are supposed to fight in for seats. That is why when we talk about from other countries, let's take case of Finland. Let us take the case of India. There is that inclusion of youth. And the problem of our country, the motherland country, Kenya, the problem of them, there's no inclusivity of young people in the government. And we intend to think that after marriage and getting all sorts of money, it is the right time for someone to take in the seat. And it's going to be pernicious amongst us. And we are going to think that the right time is tomorrow. And tomorrow is going to redefine itself to being tomorrow. And we need to understand at 18 years, as defined by the Constitution of Kenya, as it was amended in 2010, it is the right time for a person to fight in for the seat. And we want to see the inclusivity of young people in the government.
So your right time is 18?
My right, sure.
Okay. And for you, Vinto, I want to hear your take, because in Kenya, we are older enough to serve in military with the youth. We do serve in military, but when we come to these leadership things, we are sidelined. What's your take?
Now, the kind of society that we are having in Kenya right now is what makes us to perceive that actually a young person cannot lead us. But if you look at our constitution states clearly that a person, once he attains 18 years of age, is an adult. So an adult is a person who is capable of managing his life at personal level and also managing the life of the people surrounding him. Now, when we take leadership positions and say that there must be a certain age or there must be some certain achievements that somebody has to make for him to qualify to become a leader in society, then you're very wrong. Because somebody might be 18 or 19, but he has met all the minimum threshold required for him to be able to lead a particular society. Now, with our community, the society we are having, you realize that they will always demean you. They always tell you, you are just a kid, you are just but a kid, you know nothing about governance. You know? But instead of trying and giving you that chance, at least they see, what if we try a young person with this particular position? How can young people do with this particular position? Our community, our society is just having that mentality that we cannot be led by a younger generation. They have a perception that actually the Gen Zs, this is a rotten generation. A generation of twerking in TikTok, a generation of just walking half naked in society. But you know, all these things are brought about by upbringing. How are we brought up back in the with our parents? You know, there are some things that you are exposing your children to it, then you can't blame them again. You say this is wrong, but you are the ones who are always there with them. You are never guiding them to do the right thing. You guide these young people and try give them opportunity to lead you guys. That is whatever you are lacking in the society.
Mr. Luther, just like the women representatives from different countries, do you think the government of Kenya should include the youths in the parliament? Let me say youths from different constituencies to be taking part in the Kenyan parliament, so that to contribute on what these members of parliaments are discussing in the parliament.
Sure, they have to be. Because when you talk about the leadership has to start from the grassroots, and the grassroots has to be youth. Youth, the problem is the perception of the environment, where with the environment and the environment, the people in the regiment in that I call it an environment. Let me say our country Kenya. The perception to youth is that they think that we can never lead, but when it comes to realistic, we can be able to lead. So I want to talk from the grassroots leadership. Youth are capable of leading, and they are supposed to be included in parliament. For the purpose of them to be included, if they are going to raise concerns on youth, because the rising number, we can be able to testify today, it is the number of youth. The number of youth is growing. Unemployed. So they are unemployed because of what? There is no that inclusivity in parliament. If they were included and they were giving their matters in the parliament, where they're coming from, what are happening in the society where they're coming from, their constituencies, they want to be listened. But the problem is that there is no that the listening voice in the government, and they are considered as young people still, even if they are called the citizens of Kenya. They are seen as young people still. But we need to understand where there is youth. To me, I want to define it different. There is a change, and we need to drive change in the environment. And the environment is the entire country, Kenya. We want to drive change. And we can be able to drive change where there is potential. You can never compare potentiality of a young person and that of 60. It's impossible. The way I can be able to think is different from the person who is 78 is different. And I want to talk from this dimension, in which youth understand the environment better than a person who was taken care of in the government. And I want to tell you, we have people who grew up in the parliament. Their lineage is that ruling nobility. So when we talk about that, we need to understand youth, where are they coming from? From marginalized areas. When they are from marginalized areas, I want to talk from my constituency. We can be able to tell that we have quite a number of people who are yearning to be leaders, of which you had that voice.
The president.
Voice, and you are a president. You feel that capability, and you're going to be able to be defined by your skills. And leadership doesn't mean the qualification. But I want to tell you, we want to. That is why, to me, I wish we could be talking about meritocracy. Meritocracy, we could be speaking about leadership agendas. But we are talking about the way we are going to to do the rigging of votes, in, for example, in 2027. And that's the problem of us. We don't want to think about development. Youth can be able to take people through development, where we understand the pertaining nature, and it's going to give us the way forward. So youth can be able to be taken as people. So we need to see the considerate nature. So if youth are going to be included in the parliament, then we are going to see a revenue. We are going to be a revenue. We love the government.
Okay, thank you, Bwana. And this question comes to you, Mr. Vincent. I've been trying to imagine that the Gen Z revolution came at the wrong time. Why? Because what I can just say, tell you is that the Gen Z revolution is dissolved. And like if this revolution could have came up in the year 2026, I'm sure we could have propelled some of energetic and determined member of parliaments, governors, and also the ministers. If this revolution could have come in the year 2026, do you think all is lost?
First, I'd like to challenge you and correct you and tell you that the revolution, as it came at the right time. It was well deserved. Because if you look at some of the roles of the youths in the society, in governance and for development of our communities, one key role of a youth is to advocate and to create awareness. Advocacy comes in whereby the youths, the youths are people who are perceived to be, they are young, energetic, and they have that time they can learn, read the environment and all that. So you realize that, let me take for instance the finance bill. The Gen Zs gone through the finance bill and they saw there are some policies that are trying to be implemented that actually are going to harm our country. And for that reason, they were trying to create awareness and advocate for changes in some of the policies that the government was trying to bring in place.
And what of governance? Because our topic today we are talking about the youths in terms of governance.
They are all in terms of governance and the community development. So in terms of governance, they advocate and create awareness. In advocation, they advocate for policies. You see, like they realize that this particular policy is not working out in our society, in our country. Then they air it out. They create now awareness about this particular policy that is not working out with the current situation or the current trends in our country. Saying that it ought to have come at around 2026. If you say that, then it means that then it means that you're trying to say that the youth should have relaxed in their role of advocacy and awareness. They would have noticed that there is a problem in the finance bill, but just keep quiet and wait until 2026. It's when now they raise that thing that this finance bill of 2024 was bad. Now let us reject it. See? So the Gen Zs were right, the timing was right, everything was just right.
And do you think they'll re-emerge in 2026? Because we are talking about governance, so that they can propel leaders in the year 2027.
Let me tell you that the Gen Zs are still alive and kicking. They are going to emerge.
They'll re-emerge.
They are coming rejuvenated.
How? And I can
strong and ready to conquer.
I don't think, because I can see some are being swallowed by some political parties.
The good thing about the Gen Zs, everybody is independent. Everybody is reasoning for himself.
Everybody is a journalist.
They do not have a representation. They do not have a system. They do not have anybody who is going to guide them, do this, do this. You realize that somebody will wake up today and say, this is the direction I'm taking. Then the rest of the Gens are like, you've decided that is your path, then go that direction. Look at Kasmuel. He decided to join the ODM party. The Gens are saying we are partyless. Count for me. How many Gen Zs are followed Kasmuel to ODM party?
If there are more, I can guess there are one.
Only one. Yeah, they cannot be that many because everybody, every youth, every Gen Z, every individual is reasoning for himself, is yearning to get that particular country where he himself can be comfortable with, and realize that the fact that Gen Z has no system that is guiding them, they are better off because they will decide to do something, then they are using the social media platform to do it. Unlike our politicians who wants to maybe have a rally somewhere, but he know that the community there is very hostile. They have to bribe their way for them to generate some crowd, to call some crowd. I will use an example, but that will be attacking.
No.
I will not.
Be biased.
I will be biased in that manner. So realize that the Gen Zs are better off in terms of mobilization. They are using our platforms well, and that is something that can really give them power and strength when it comes to the 2027 elections.
So
Because
we should expect them.
expect them. They are coming stronger, rejuvenated, ready to conquer.
But again, let me interfere now. But again, even if we are expecting them to return, let us understand the problem of Gen Z. In other side, they have a problem. The problem, they want to run to the government without solutions. They want to see a government where there is opportunity creation. They want to see where the employment is fully. And that is the problem with these youth who have gone to school. They think that going to school is the only way, for the only solution to life. But we intend to think that the government has to create job opportunity. That's why a good number and a small number have gone for, we have this human capital revolution, where some youth have gone for, they are out of, from being consumers to producers. A better number you can be able to tell they have gone to be farmers outside there to grow cash crops for the purpose of, for themselves purpose, for the purpose of the self-benefit. They have gone for that. And we need to understand, Gen Z have to give solution, not to run for government. You can be able to testify what happened the other day. They had to break through into the government, and what they did was wrong to me, according to my view. It was wrong. I need to understand the problem of Gen Z is lack of voice of reason. And the voice of reason, we had some individuals who were our voice of reason, but they went ahead and got themselves some seats after being justified for what they wanted. We have spoken about a customer was taken by ODM because of money, nothing else. So we need to understand, we do not want to move in that direction. After being given money, you want to betray others. We want to see a nation where youth want to give solutions, not want to break the government. And we don't want to see a bloodshed country. So thank you. That was my conclusion.
Thank you. And Bonavinto, as we sum up,
Yeah.
what's your message to the youth who are watching us over there?
My message to the youth is this, that the kind of unity we shown during the time we were advocating for change in some policies that were being brought in by the 2024 finance bill, that energy, the unison we had, should not die. The fight is still on. We still have bad governance in our country. We are still having systems are not working. If you look at our education system, is not working. Our health system is not working. The ethics in our community is not working. We still have a lot of incidences of corruption that you are a graduate, you have graduated, but you have to bribe your way in for you to be absorbed somewhere, for you to have some jobs. Like recently, I seen a post by an MP. I think the MP is from Bungoma County, I want to mention the constituency, that there is this student who graduated, and the student was taking education as a course. Upon graduating, the MP, through the Speaker of the National Assembly, wants to give this particular individual a job directly. And remember, there are individuals who also graduated with the same qualification, the same course in the year 2015. They lack that opportunity. But since you are an MP, you are known to the speaker, you want to influence the TSC to absorb this person who graduated just yesterday. Somebody graduated yesterday, but tomorrow is being guaranteed a PNP job. That is a kind of a society that we don't want. We want a society whereby if the education system is working, let it work for all.
Okay. Mr. Luther, I remember we were with you in a particular debate, and I told you that the elections that we carry out in our nation is just a census to determine which tribe is bigger than the other. And Vinto has said here that we are tribeless. It's contrary, because when we look at the university here, we have different tribes. We have a group for those people who come from Trans Nzoia, we have those who come from Trakisa or Bukosa, we have those who come from Nyanza. And you are telling us here that a Gen Z is a tribeless man. How are we supposed to curb this so that we can propel some of us in the national seats?
I thank you for the opportunity once more, and I want to tell you the problem is the way we were brought up, and it's going to affect even our generation, and it's going to be intergenerational. The problem of ethnicity can never end in our country, as long as we are living in a society where you are defined by your mother tongue. Maybe you are told the way we lived, our forefathers used to live. It is like this way. And that's why it is going to happen now. Gen Zs, even if they want to marry, they are told from their homes that you should never marry from another tribe. For example, you are a Luo, and you can never be told, you are going to be denied from marrying from a Kisi.
Apologies, I'm a Luya.
Sorry. Sorry. But you are going to be told we never live like that, and the way you are doing things is a taboo. So that is the problem. And we are saying as Gen Z, but to me, Gen Z doesn't sound me, because I feel that Gen Z should be having a solution to life. We can never end ethnicity if we live according to societal norms. So we need to understand societal norms as how they're going to affect our maybe positive or negative. So to us, there's no that spirit of togetherness, and we are defined by ethnicity. That is why, for example, you are going to ask me, which tribe are you coming from? Maybe I'm going to tell you I'm from Kesi. And we're going to wonder, oh, you're from Kesi. Then you're not going to share what you wanted to share with me. You can never start with me. And the problem of us, we need to have one voice. We are supposed to read from one page. And the problem of us still ongoing with the problem of ethnicity is that we don't want to associate with others. You feel like if I'm a Luo, I'm going to be a Luo. If I'm a Luya, I'm going to be a Luya. And they start in incompetence of learning from other societies. But when things are rising, when it comes to the government, we want to rise as what? As Gen Z. And that is going to affect us. But we need to rise with solutions. If we need to end this ethnicity. And we are now supposed to be defined by a ethnical group. We are Gen Z. And let us be called Gen Z. Not Luo, not Luya, not Mukamba. We should be reading from the same page. And I want to tell you, if we want to move in the same direction, and leave aside telling that we are moving in one direction, yet we are not moving, to my perception, we need to understand which current situation are we in. We are in a world where leaders are supposed to crown great things. So we are the leaders at this particular point. And we are saying things. That is why we had Gen Z arising. Gen Z had to rise because they want to give out the outlines. Because they have seen great things that are supposed to be done in the government. And they want to give that outlines. They want to give solutions. And now we want to see solution to the betterment of the government. So for the purpose of for the purpose of motion of the government, we want to see the potential of youth. We want to see the capability of a youth. Are you saying this thing? So let us not be seen in a perception of ethnical group. Let us be seen in a different way.
Okay. Before we leave that topic of ethnicity, I want to ask Vinto a question. You know, a Luo is a man who's known as a person who always administer for change. That's why you'll see most of the people who are demonstrating on the streets over there, they are Luo. But I'm trying to imagine, why are you quiet this time round? Because recently you are the people who are leading the demonstrations. You are the people who are saying, sijui who must go. Kufa, sijui nani, kufa nani. And now, after receiving a docket from the government,
Yes.
I've seen there's nothing. You are saying totally nothing. The silence that is in Nyanda is something that is beyond explanation. I'm trying to imagine, there's no way the who you thought is a devil, after giving you a docket, he'll now change and to become the angel. Now people from Nyanda are saying that, oh, now we are the store of the government. The treasurer lies in Nyanza.
Okay. The question is well stated. And I want to answer you correctly. No, even when we had the 2022 general elections, people were expecting that if William Ruto was going to be announced the president, which happened, the day it happened, he was announced, people were expecting that the Luo community would come up and strongly reject the results. But there are things that actually come and change in a society, in a community. In the Luo community, right now, my take would be this.
Please be neutral.
I'm being neutral. They have tried this opportunity to rise to the helm of power in this country, and it's like it's not their time yet.
It's not their time.
So, as a result, taking that 2022 general elections as an example, whereby Raila Odinga lost an election and the Luo community was calm.
Even part of the Luo, even part of the
Even part of the Luo community, they accepted the results and said, this is our country. We continue living this way, we are going to destroy and burn this country completely. They had to recognize, accept the chosen leader, and life moves on. Now, the reason as to why, let me say that ethnicity in our country, at a time it is not that easy to come to an end, but it is a possibility. It is something that can come to an end. One, as a nation, as a country, we need to embrace coalition government. With that, it will help reduce ethnicity. Because right now you realize that most of these leadership positions, once an individual has won an election, and they are supposed to appoint individuals to his government, individuals are going to support him and work together with him, realize that there are a lot of biasness based on their ethnicity or based on their ethnic differences. But if at all we had a coalition government, whereby after Kenya Kwanza won an election, thereafter a coalition government is formed. Azimio lost, yes, but in terms of forming the government, they are being brought back and they are being given some slots in this particular government. That one would help bring and reduce ethnicity to almost zero level.
Okay, then why jump from opposition to a support?
When you are trying to frame the whole Luo community as jumping from opposition to a supporter, is very wrong. It's very, very wrong. You cannot generalize a community in that way. You can only pinpoint some individuals. I personally am here, I'm a Luo, but I'm still an opposition. Because there is no government that is going to work.
But you're not feeling your magnitude.
Because I'm not in that capacity now. If I
Now,
were,
the people who are at that capacity
those who are at the helm,
are now the supporters.
you know, at times they're being suppressed. At times they're being suppressed. And if you read the 48 laws of power, law number 3, you should never outshine your master. Look at somebody like Babu Owino. He's somebody who is in opposition, but you can never hear him speak directly attacking Raila Odinga, who is in government. You see, Raila Odinga is still there. He is his superior. He still acknowledges him, and therefore, for that reason, he just have to tone down. But he's in his blood, in his acts, in his deeds, he's in opposition. Yeah. He's criticizing the government almost in every day. Anytime he posts something about the government, he's just a critic. He never praises the government. But you know, whatever he cannot do, he can never attack directly to the people who raised him to become whoever he is. That is the only challenge we have.
Thank you. So, thank you very much, our beloved viewers and our guests in the studio. It has been an awesome interview, and next week we'll be talking about Raila's journey in AU chairmanship. We want to discuss, and will be detailed and factual, the statistics, whether Raila will
must get them right.
He must get. So we'll be discussing that topic. Thank you for your time. Happy to have you today.
Thank you.
Thank you.